It is 10:08 a.m. on November 10th, and we are now back in open session. We will wait a moment for Kelly to turn the tape back on.
It's on. It's back on.
Okay. Let us proceed to the executive director report.
Okay, so number one, Sue answered that in closed session that the lobbying interpretation for Mr. Zuckerberg has been resolved. The Office of Law reached out and spoke with him. I am going to let you guys know that these financial disclosure statements from the board and commission members are very difficult to stay on top of. It's one thing to try to collect all of the financial disclosure statements in the spring from about, I don't know, it's 200 people. Next year it's going to be 450. I will say on average, I spend anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes trying to get a late financial disclosure statement. So the Workforce Development Board, that has about 50 members in June, got 22 new members and 14 departing members. So every departing member has 60 days to file a financial disclosure covering the current year. And every new member, just like Laura and Lisa did, has 30 days to file a new one. And it is a full-time job to keep track of these. In addition to that board, obviously our board had new members and other boards had one or two members. It's fundamentally, though, a lack of communication. We're trying to fix that with having it automated with Granicus. But so I had a list of 14 people that had left the Work Development Board. I asked the board liaison to try to get in touch with them. They email me back. They can't. So then I have to go and search them and find the number and call and leave a message. And I sent 3 emails to the new members of the Workforce Development Board asking them to turn their financial disclosure statements in. And then last week, I still was missing 16 of them. So I said, my first email was nice. My second email said, just be advised, this is a requirement under the law, and I'm going to go to the Ethics Commission. And I got some pushback from those guys being like, these are new members, we don't want to piss them off. And like, I don't care. It's like herding cats. And so there was a flurry of activity this week, and they've all turned them in. But it was probably 30 hours of my life to call. And to be clear, these are like, I have the list. It's like heads. The last person to turn theirs in was the head of Weiss Markets. These aren't, they're like influential, important people. It's hard to change the culture, and it's a lot of work, but they're all in. But so I just prepare everyone to next year. I don't know about COVID, but I really, last year when I started, I think that there needs to be some teeth behind people not turning them in. We're going to have 450 people that are going to have to file. It's going to be more employees, and I really believe we should be issuing late fees. I'm committed to sending 1 or 2 emails, but after that, I think that it would be important to have 1 or 2 people fined to just reiterate the seriousness of it, to try to have people in compliance. That being said, I've now done 16 training sessions for all of the new employees that were added to file, 16 hour to hour and a half training sessions, walking them through the form. I'm sure I'm going to get a ton of questions. The other thing I wanted to tell you is I think I told you at the last meeting, I made this online ethics course, and I've rolled it out now to 4 or 5 different agencies. As of this morning, there are 375 people that have taken the course and been certified. There's 108 people who have the course. I roll it out the beginning of the month, and I give them 30 days to do it. But I think this will be a great statistic for us in next September to say that 8,000 people have gotten some type of ethics training, which Baltimore County's never done that before. They've never had an online course before. They get a ton of flack and crummy emails about it, people can't do it. But I just think it's an important step to try something different, because so far these trainings have just been traditional live trainings, which is great. But, you know, we live in a WebEx COVID digital world. We need to kind of move. And in that vein, I've been doing the new employee orientation trainings. I log into the WebEx and do a 20-minute lecture on ethics, which I think is really important. We never did that before. I asked if I could videotape my presentation, just because the last time my 4-year-old kept running in screaming that he needed more milk, because I do it at like 8 o'clock in the morning. And they said I could, but I would be the only person not doing it live. Now, that being said, all these other major jurisdictions, they have this pre-canned online video presentation, which I want to do. I think it's a good thing to do, but it's, you know, just difficult. The other thing I would tell you guys, and I'm going to share my screen if I can really quickly, is I want to show you under the code, for those of you that might not be aware of this, the Ethics Commission, it has a lot of duties. One of their duties is to provide training to the following individuals. And so what has happened in the past, these were traditionally everyone that was required to file a financial disclosure. I'm sure Mike and Cindy were cataloged into the computer training center, and Mike Field and Sue Dubin gave a lecture on ethics laws. This part now this is what Stacy has done in designating these other 250 people to file. But one of the things that you guys are supposed to do, through me, is to give training to these various boards. Now, I've already done a training separate for the Board of Appeals, and I'm trying to do separate WebEx trainings for all of these individual boards. I think it's really important, and it's better in a small setting. But I can't, because you guys don't have a Baltimore County email. My plan for everybody else on this list, all the directors, deputies, county council, is I just sent them the online training for November. So that's how I'm going to check off that box. But you guys and the Revenue Authority, I can't give you the online training because you have outside emails. So I scheduled a WebEx. It's going to be silly, but we'll just do it together. You guys will know all of the answers, but we'll call on the Revenue Authority for November 18th at 1 o'clock. So that is a WebEx for Ethics Commission and Revenue Authority. I will send that WebEx today. But mark your calendars. I'll send you a WebEx. That'll be a calendar request, so you'll have it on there. November 18th at 1 o'clock. The other thing, yeah, Cindy?
Were you going to move to a different topic?
I was going to move to a different topic. So if you want to stop me, go ahead.
I actually would like to comment on the late financial disclosures.
Sure.
Which was a topic ago. Perhaps more for Lisa and Laura's benefit with respect to these financial disclosures. So I'm kind of aware that this has been an issue, and I saw it on the agenda, and I was looking at the code in advance of this meeting. So I just want to throw this out so that everybody would have the benefit of what I noticed in the code.
You want me to pull up the code while you're doing it?
You can, yes. But the first thing is that in 71401, it says that these various public officials shall file the financial disclosure statements. For the lawyers among us, we talk about, the shall kind of directives as opposed to mays, and that shall means you must. It doesn't mean that you're supposed to, and that you really ought to if you have a moment or things like that. Shall means, is like an absolute requirement, just sort of as a matter of construction of a rule or a statute. Then there is another thing I wanted to say, which is that, and this isn't really, this is just sort of by way of background, that in 71601, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, in 71405, which seems to be talking about where a financial disclosure has actually been submitted. A says where it's been submitted, that the commission is supposed to review it for compliance. The Kelly and her staff, to the extent she has one, has been taking on that huge task. The next part, referral to county attorney for enforcement. It says if the filer does not correct the omission or deficiency on the financial disclosure statement within 30 days, the commission shall, put it back a minute, the commission shall refer the matter to the county attorney. And it's 71405. Right. Okay. So in B, so if there's a problem on these financial disclosures and they aren't corrected after 30 days, we shall refer it. Now, it's interesting. It says does not correct the omission or deficiency on the financial disclosure statement, which I think probably is more appropriately, I think it could be read either way, but I think it perhaps more appropriately would be read as meaning where a financial disclosure statement has been filed, although frankly, that requirement that it's already been filed in order for that provision to apply is only specifically stated in 405A. Kelly, it keeps jumping around, so we're like,
sorry,
not looking at it again. Here we go, 405.
Sorry.
Okay, so 405, if you look at 405A, it specifically says after a statement has been submitted. 405B does not say that, but perhaps is referring only when there has been a statement. But regardless, I just wanted to say how strong this is, that this isn't saying only if it's somebody at the very top of government. This is like anybody who is required to file if they are told it's missing something, and maybe even if they don't do it, we shall refer to the county attorney. I say that only, not to say that this is ripe now, but to say how strong this requirement is of these financial disclosure statements that is, you know, in the code. And then if you go into 71601, Kelly.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that on 71405, it probably only means where it has been filed. But then on 71601, this is the rule where it says the county attorney can have a court issue an order requiring a person to cease and desist from a violation of the title. That's not us, that's the county attorney. But then I think the thing that is most relevant, and I'm only saying it last because I was going through the sections in order, would be 71601 C. No, I'm sorry, D. So if you can get to that 601D, there we go, late fee. Yes, it's highlighted. So this is really the late fee that Kelly would have been referring to. It's not a shall, it's a may. But it says that the commission may, meaning it can, if it wishes, assess a late fee of $2 per day of up to $250 for failure to timely file a financial disclosure statement. And it's still up to $250, but it's $10 a day if it relates to a lobbyist. So Kelly was just referring, if I understand Kelly, I think I'd like to hear from her after I finish this in a moment, but Kelly was just referring to perhaps looking at things a little differently starting January 1st. But I wanted everybody, as they are thinking about the issues that Kelly has described, but as to which Kelly has made, it seems extraordinary progress with respect to improving compliance during the time that she has been on the job. And so with some luck, maybe the problem will go away. But I wanted everybody to just be aware of what the code says regarding this and where the I guess I'm going to call it discretionary because it says may, ability to do a fee, a fine would come from. Also, I wanted to say that, and I'd like to hear from Kelly on this when I turn it over to her in a moment, is I believe that things are going in the direction of an online submission where people would be not just emailing their forms, but submitting them into a platform, an electronic platform, where hopefully the platform will be able to take the burden of sending out notices. Okay, like you haven't done yours yet, you know, you must do it within such a period of time. And that will hopefully be able to take some of the burden off of Kelly, who's been doing such an extraordinary job in taking on all of these tasks of what needs to be done for the Ethics Commission. Anyway, so Kelly, I just want to kind of, particularly because Laura and Lisa were new, to sort of give
Yeah.
those.
No, I think that was helpful. I mean, I'm like a broken record. That's the worst part of my job. I mean, I have two full-time jobs. I have the inspector general job and I have the ethics job. And on average, it's 20 or 30 minutes to get the financial disclosures. And it's a lot of work. And before I started, and Mike can probably speak to this, that's the first thing that Jeff Foreman, the old chairman, said to me, is that they would used to get the lists down to 18 people or so that hadn't filed, and then they would just move on to the next because it's too much work. And since I've been here, I'm proud to say we have 100% compliance, but frankly, it is hours and hours of my time. I mean, I will pull up for you the list I got from workforce development. And, you know, you have to go through the 14 people that have left, and some work for Baltimore County Schools, and you got to send the email, and the email bounces back. And then I've tried to put the onus on the liaisons because they're the people that should have the best contact. And sometimes that works. It's just a lot of work. And yes, that's a good segue. If anybody wants to see, I'm happy to show you what the program looks like so far. And this is what happened, and I feel really good about it now, but I'll kind of give you the 5-minute overview of this. When I first started, I said, we have to have an online financial disclosure program. It's ridiculous that we don't. It's ridiculous on the back end for me in tracking that we have this Excel spreadsheet that we check off the names, but on the front end, we have to make it easier and user friendly for people to file. So they said, I went to the other jurisdictions, and those other jurisdictions told me, well, we had our IT make it for us. So then I went to IT and I said, can you guys make it? No, we're way too busy. We can't do it. You have to go buy it. So then I've been in all these procurement talks, and over in, I guess, September, we got a quote back for $365,000 from one of these companies to have this like standard program. And the IT department flipped out and said, well, we can't pay for that. But then because they had been along the journey and Stacy Rogers, the county administrative officer, had added all these people, they started to like understand the problem. Because I think this ethics part has been kind of kept away, that nobody kind of appreciates all the training requirements and the paperwork requirements. So they said, well, listen, this is a serious enough issue. We're going to make you one. I said, great. So then they took the old county forms and they started to make it. And I said, about 2 days in, I said, wait a minute, stop. If we're going to make it, I don't want to use these old forms that haven't been updated, that have all these typos and inconsistencies. I said, I know how to do this. I called Will Calhoun at State Ethics. The state online system is beautiful, magical. I got the IT guy a password. The Baltimore County code is based on the state code. I compared them. They're the same. I talked with Sue ad nauseum, and I said there's no reason why our form should not be the exact mirror of the state form with slightly different wording. And so that's what they're doing. And I'll show it to you if you guys want to see it. It is beautiful. There are drop down menus for all of these options. Laura and Lisa, I know you guys just filled this out, so you know all the questions are like, do you own it by yourself? Do you own it with another person? Like, how do you own it? For all of those questions now, you have a drop down menu that says solely, solely with your spouse, solely with your part. Like, there are options, and they're consistent standard options. And then they have like drop downs for dollar amount. They have drop downs for describe the residence. They have drop downs for describe your shares. And so the only thing they have done so far is Schedule A, but our form is going to be the state form. It's going to be this beautiful form, and they're trying their best to get the program ready to roll by mid-December. But then, frankly, guys, that's going to be a whole other can of worms, because I've done all these trainings for everybody on this county form. And granted, I think the state form's a lot easier, but these are people that have been working for Baltimore County for 40 years that have never filed the form online. That is going to be a major, major learning curve for them. But for people that are used to filing an online form, or at least you guys are going to love it. You're going to be like, this is wonderful. It's going to auto-populate. It's going to save. You can't move forward to the next schedule until you've completed the whole schedule. For me and for you guys, it has an ability to search. If we want to know the list of everybody whose husband works somewhere else or the lot, I mean, we can run reports. And I'm hoping it's going to be able to be automated for who hasn't filed, but I'm just like really, really excited about it on the one hand, but really, really frustrated that I asked for this in February. They said no. And because nobody understood how critical the need was, and we got a crazy, ridiculous quote, here we are in a race against the clock to try to get this done, because we're going to have 450 people filing this. But then my plan is, once that kind of calms down, is to have all the lobbying, registration, and all that stuff should be filed through this portal. It is crazy that we don't have that. We are not working smarter. We are working harder, and it is just like crazy. So does anybody want to see it? I don't know if I can pull it up really quickly, but it's really pretty. Or you can just trust me on it. I'll show you next time. It's really, really pretty. That's it. That's all I got to say about it.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing it.
It is like, you look at that old crummy form with the like typos in it, and you look at this like magical, state all of your interests, drop down. It's I'm very, very excited about it.
Terrific.
What do you guys think though about, I really just think a couple things, maybe to table for January. I think we should start having lobbying fees. We're the only jurisdiction that doesn't have lobbying fees. Frankly, that would generate money for the Ethics Commission that then I could have an argument as to why I need to hire an administrative person that would be supplemented from those fees. Every other jurisdiction charges a fee, and we don't. I think we should have late fees, and I think we should be serious about it. If you haven't, it's due April 30th. If you haven't turned your form in by May 30th, you get a letter saying you have a fee. Even if it's like a symbolic $10 or something, right? Then we can set there's no mechanism with which to make somebody file. Other than, me calling, me emailing, please, you have to do this, it's required. But how many times am I supposed to do that before? I mean, I know it's like lame, $10, but it's something.
Kelly, with respect to to a lobbying fee, is that something that you need legislation for? You just
Sorry, I was
became.
muted. I don't think so. It's on my, I have this kind of goofy, I don't know if I can bring it up. I made a dry erase wall with dry erase paint. So the purple is legislation ideas that I want to do. And right there, lobbying fee. I also want to change the training requirements to every 3 years, which I'm hoping with this online class that will help me get there. I'm going to look into it, but I mean, I know Baltimore City charges $250 for registration, and that's per client, not per lobbyist. I think Will Calhoun at State Ethics was laughing at me that we don't have a lobbying fee.
So I was a little confused. I'm sorry. Laura, you're on mute.
You're muted, Laura.
You can go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I was confused by your answer because it sounded like you were thinking we did not need legislation for that, but then you were pointing to a board that said legislation, so I wasn't sure what your answer was, Kelly.
I don't think we do, because I think we have the ability in the code. But my plan was, and it's like a February plan, I'm not going to get to it before then, was to see how the surrounding jurisdictions handled it and look at our code. And my thought was to have an ethics package anyways. And so if we needed legislation to include that, and if we didn't, just to be making that substantive change. I don't believe we do. But I haven't like really drilled down on the issue yet. Other than to say I think it's a good idea and we should do it.
Would having legislation make it easier or more difficult to, or no difference, to implement and enforce?
So the problem I think I would prefer to not have to go through county council if I don't, because if I go through county council, they can change it. So maybe we would propose $250 and they would change it to $25, right? And that's out of our hands. The other benefit, if we did it through county council, I think you would have the benefit of media and or media coverage for it. So you could in some ways, I don't know, not shame them, but just kind of make your point. It's just a different vehicle. If we have the authority to do it, we can set our own rules. I mean, there's no other enforcement mechanism if our statute carries it. What I would do is I would look at the surrounding jurisdictions and I would put together a chart for you guys. This is how Montgomery County does it. This is their enabling legislation. This is how much they charge. This is what Baltimore City does. This is what the state of Maryland does. I assume it's in our statute already because our statute is based off the state. But it's just like right now in our statute, it says that we can have online ethics training. There's something in the statute that talks about the ability to have these trainings be online. If that happens, oh yeah, right here. C1. The required training courses could be administered in person or online. So it's been there. We've just never had the opportunity to take advantage of it. So I assume under the lobbying part that it would be in there to charge fees. I assume. I haven't drilled down on it yet.
I thought I saw something about $500 when you were scrolling through that. Maybe
that is like, I think, a definition of a lobbyist.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Oh, registration. Yeah, I don't think that's CZMP. Yeah, I don't want to do a piecemeal for you guys. I want to present it cleaner. I just think it's a good thing to think about doing in coming attractions. Anything else for the good of the group at 10:38?
I just wanted to say that I'm definitely in favor of enforcing the fees. I know it says may, but this would be a case where I would think it's just inefficient that if you're wasting so many hours on that. So if consequences may push, I'm in favor of that. And then I'm also in favor of the lobbying fees, especially if that's the norm for other jurisdictions as well as the state. Just my opinion.
I agree. I don't think we have any other new business. I will say, if there's nothing that comes up, since we've had 2 meetings in October and we've had this meeting as well as the training next week, if nothing else comes up, I would be happy to cancel the December meeting, but I guess we'll just see what happens.
Okay.
So our next meeting will be on the 18th. Is that correct?
Just a training, not a
Or
meeting.
training.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's virtual like this.
Virtual.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have said something. I'll second it.
Okay. And we are adjourned at 10:39 a.m. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and stay safe. We're getting a lot more COVID cases out there.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.